Welcome back. Our second guest today is Jacqui Grant. She's an NDIS business consultant and empowerment coach. And the topic we'll be discussing today is the 3 fundamentals for a healthy workplace environment for neurodiverse people. Welcome, Jacqui.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Jacqui, please list for us the 3 fundamentals for a healthy workplace environment for neurodiverse people.
In the workplace, so many people who are neurodiverse or have neurodivergent traits, such as being autistic, ADHD, it comes with a lot of challenges. So one of the first things is that they are understood, like really understood for what they require as an individual. Number 2 is that the work environment is willing and able to support them. So for example, for some people, feeling overstimulated. It can be such a challenge with too many lights, too much noise. It can be quite distracting. For some people, dyslexia is a problem, but they can still do their job. They just require maybe voice to text to help them as a spell check, little things like that. As that continues to be evolving, so some days traits are really good, like for example, hyper-focused, got the job done. Other days, nope, can't remember what those instructions were 5 minutes ago. Got part of it, but not all of it. So as a workplace creates those changes for the person, and they don't have to be expensive, the person can feel more comfortable and engaging in their job, and importantly, enjoy their job, which helps them to mask less, helps them to increase their energy and be a big part of the team. And the third thing is that they are having some allowances for those times when they're just not coping. For example, if they're triggered with what is commonly known as a meltdown. So it could just be going into overwhelm and needing to be able to walk away, going to a quiet place, being able to get up and leave their workstation to have that time out. Could be a walk around the park, it could be a walk outside, it could simply just taking some time away from everybody to feel calm, centered and grounded.
How does understanding the individual help?
So when it comes to being neurodiverse, everybody's unique, just as everybody's unique that's neurotypical. In the workplace though, if you understand each individual's requirements who are neurodiverse, and we focus on that more because it can be very overwhelming and confronting for the person who has neurodivergent traits. So when you understand as an employee, as well as the manager, as well as the co-worker, that your person that you work with has these uniqueness, these traits that they may need to follow. For example, for some people who have both ASD or on the autism spectrum and ADHD, some days they like to follow the rules and they understand exactly where everything is. But on other days, ADHD is a bit more at play, so that hyperactivity, that spontaneity, and it's like, no, there's too many steps to go from looking for a file, for example. By understanding that as a manager, you have a staff member that needs to make adaptations as to where to find that file or that information, can make their job so much easier, which in turn makes your job so much easier. So understanding each individual's requirements makes the workplace much better, not just for that individual, but for everyone else. And then as part of that, productivity can go up, more likely that everybody will show up to work because it is an all-inclusive environment, and especially for the person who is neurodivergent. One of the traits that I have as a person who has the diagnosis of ADHD as well as ASD or autism is my hyperfocus. Once I focus on a task, it's done.
If you were neurodiverse in your workplace and hesitant to talk to your manager about your needs, what's some advice you could offer to initiate this conversation with your co-workers and your manager?
Basically, there's a couple of steps with that advice. One is really get to know yourself as an individual. Like, think of your worst day that you may experience in your workplace first and write that down. Like, what is my worst day? If I get overwhelmed, if I get exhausted, am I likely to storm out of the workplace? Like, am I likely to sit in the corner and cry? Am I likely to just, complain to everybody and overshare? Like, what's the worst case that can happen? And then from there, you can say, what do I need to minimize that occurring in my job? So thinking about the job, thinking about the worst case scenario and bringing that together. And then as you bring that together, you can then say to your manager, so I'd start with the manager first and say, I'd just like to have a conversation with you about some of the things that I find challenging in the workplace that I would really like to minimize those challenges to make it so that I can come to work every day, enjoy it and do my best job. And having that positive approach of being the team player and wanting to make it work and knowing your worst case and explaining that the best way you can will make all the difference, because your manager is then potentially seeing it not so much as a challenge, but as something that, I want to work with that person. I want to help them to be part of the team and bring out their strengths, because when we bring out strengths in ourselves and each other, the workplace, for example, is such a better place. And really take your time then to have that conversation with the manager in a space that there's plenty of time. If you need to bring some evidence that helps back up your, with my dyslexia, I found that this works, so an app or something, and having the expectation of being heard, that you open communication around solving the challenge and and having the solution. Now, if you're still having trouble articulating your specific needs, then having a coach that can actually help you articulate that can be a great place. And then for it to ripple out into your co-workers, you then say to your manager, look, can we let people know that, when they're constantly calling me, it's actually quite triggering, or whatever it is, and then seeing how a team approach can happen.
That's such important information. Thanks, Jacqui. If you'd like to know more about the 3 fundamentals for creating a safe working environment for neurodiverse people and Jacqui Grant, please go to her webpage on our website, healthwellbeingandlifestyle.com.au. And after the break, we have another interesting guest with another interesting topic.